Well, hello, my friends, and thank you for tuning in again to our RUPES core webinar series. We will begin our topic now, and for those of you who have not been on our core series, core means continuous online RUPES education. I'm Jason Rose. We're broadcasting live from our BigFoot Academy in Denver, Colorado. And we have a fantastic program, probably one of our most important, certainly our most exciting topics in our whole series. So you are in for a treat today. And I very much appreciate you logging in and listening to us present this topic. So if you're watching, you are perhaps watching live on the Zoom webinar. And if you are, fantastic for you. You have access to some webinar controls that will allow you to engage with our speakers during this webinar presentation. We'll go over those controls in just a moment. The other way that you might be viewing this content is Facebook Live. And if you are there, thank you for tuning in. And you have some controls and some engagement with us. The comments and questions that you enter on Facebook Live, just know that our team is not primarily monitoring those at the moment. However, we will circle back and address your comments and questions after the webinar. Another way that you might be viewing this content is on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, you are watching a recording of the live session. So you do not have webinar controls. However, you have things like play and pause and audio adjustment, but just realize you're watching a recording. So with those of you that are watching live, the webinar controls are as follows. We have on the top of your screen some view options. This changes your display, how you view the content on the slides or our cameras. Lower left-hand corner are the audio adjustments. This can adjust your volume up and down. We also have the all-important Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. This is where you click to enter your comments and questions, and we encourage you to do so. This is a very, very large group we have on this topic, so we're going to do our best to monitor and answer as we go. However, at the end of this presentation, there is a question and answer session that we will address some questions. We probably won't be able to address them all because the volume of people on this webinar is our greatest audience so far. On the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you have some options to view. This can get you the side-by-side view with slide content on one side and our presentation speaker cameras on the other. Another way you could be watching this is on your phone. And if you're watching live, you also have webinar controls on your phone. There is the audio controls in the upper left of your screen and the all-important question and answer icon box where you can click and enter your comments and questions. Click on the center of your screen if you're using your phone, and this will toggle on and off the webinar controls that are bordering around your screen. So with us today, myself, Jason, in our academy in Denver, Colorado. Also in Colorado, we have Dylan, our marketing manager of North American RUPES business. He, however, is broadcasting live from his home office. We also have Fabrizio in Milan, Italy area, not at our academy this time, but he is also broadcasting live from his home office. And finally, we have Todd, our senior technical advisor, who is broadcasting live from Florida. And we all will be speaking to you about this topic throughout this presentation, but we're coming at you live from 4 different locations. And that is our speaking team today. Very proud to present with these guys. They're exceptional people, and we're really proud to have them on our team. So another thing to give you an update about our business through this COVID-19 pandemic, we are back in the game. So both of our factory locations, one in Italy, one in Colorado in the United States, we have our full teams making tools, repairing tools, producing compounds, making pads, packaging products, shipping products. We are in full steam. All of our departments, our supply chain is fully operational. However, after being closed, like many businesses at this time, we have been closed for 6 or 7 weeks. So we are digging ourselves out of a hole, and we want to ask for your patience as we do this. We are working diligently and double shifts and overtime. We are doing our best to keep up with the demand and the orders, and thank you for that. We appreciate your business, and we are doing our best to get back on track with on-time delivery. So thank you for your orders, and give us a little bit of time to get caught up. RUPES as a company, many of you know, our mantra is innovation, technology, and design. Through all of our products, since 1947, we have woven in the spirit of innovation, technology, and design. So everything we do is all about providing the best performance. Even in our production methods, we're trying to do the best we can to produce the absolute highest performing products. But woven into everything we do is our continuous improvement. So we want to be better than ourselves than we were yesterday. So this is how we operate as a company. Now, getting straight to our topic today, this is our new high-performance BigFoot DA polishing system. But of course, some of you are already aware of this, and some of you may already be using these products, and we know you have, because the raves you have sent us have validated that you're using these and you're happy. But we are at this moment, we are in the middle of our global regional rollout plan for this system. So some parts of the world, these products are actually selling and being used, and in other parts of the world, not yet. So we're in the middle of this launch campaign at the moment. So to review, those of you that use our systems, you know this, but just to review where we are at and what we've developed up to this point. Our current BigFoot polishing systems are 3 distinct individual polishing systems where all of the components are geared towards the synergy between the tool movement, the compound, and the pads in that system. For example, we have a random orbital system that has a tool, has compounds and pads. They're all created to work together. The Melee gear-driven orbital also has its own compounds and pads and functions as a system. And finally, the rotary, which is a very different tool movement, has different compounds, different pads, all designed to work with that rotary movement. Now, some of you also use the UHS high gloss system, which is a combo of polish and pad specifically formulated for high solids clears that are factory applied. So this is a snapshot of our currently developed systems that we offer now, and we'll continue to offer in some places. So these 3 systems have 12 unique compound formulas and 17 individually unique pad types. Now, those numbers are not the total number of products, because if you factor in the different size bottles of compounds and the different size diameters of pads, then we have many more products that we are currently offering you. So our development goals with this new DA system have been to obviously continue to improve our performance of our products, and also to simplify the product offering by decreasing the total number of product items. However, at the same time we're reducing product offerings in this new system, we don't want to sacrifice or compromise on performance. In fact, we have taken the opportunity to improve performance while at the same time reducing and simplifying the system. We also want to take this opportunity to demonstrate to the world that RUPES has this strong capability to develop and produce world-class consumable products internally. So we manufacture, formulate, test, and validate our own compounds. We do the same with our own pads as well as our tools. Consistent with our mantra that I spoke about earlier, everything we do, including this new DA system, we are all about innovation, technology, and design. So here is that snapshot of our current systems. As I showed you before, our new simplified system will look like this. So what we've done is taken the random orbital system and its components, the Mealy gear-driven orbital system and its components, and we have simplified the products to be used. So we have a compound and a polish and some pads that now the combination works for both of those orbital tools. And this is a fantastic simplification. We've gone from those numbers I presented before to now 6 unique compound formulas and 12 unique pad types. Now, those of you that love and use the Mealy coarse and the Mealy fine, we want to let you know that we're not taking that away, and you can continue to use those in some parts of the world market. So the popularity and the demand for Mealy coarse and fine is very strong in some countries of the world, and we will continue to offer those products for you in some places. However, our North American team has decided to discontinue these items and focus on the new DA coarse and the new DA fine. But just be aware, in the majority of the world, you will still have access to these exciting products that you use and love every day. So it's great to have options, right? Now, with our rotary, as I mentioned, the rotary is still a completely separate system. The upgrades and the new products that we are offering do not impact this system dramatically. In fact, there's a strong technical reason for us doing this. We would love, if it was possible, we would love to offer you one compound, one pad, and one tool, for all tools that can do all of the work. It would be great to have such a simple system that one liquid product, one pad can apply to all of those tools. However, here on your screen are the reasons that for technical perspective, we cannot offer that to you at this time. The rotary movement is very different than all orbital tool movements. This is a circular linear movement with little to no directional changes. And because of that, it requires special pads and special liquids. Now, if you take the pad that you put on a rotary tool, there is also the reality of the disparity in pad velocity and the heat footprint applied to the surface. So going from the center to the outer edge of a rotary pad, the pad velocity and the heat footprint is very different on the outside compared to the middle. Because of this reality of the tool movement, the pads and the liquids have to be formulated to work with that movement. And finally, the strongest reason that we need rotary specific consumables is the lubrication system and the viscosity range required for optimal performance with a rotary application is not the same ideal lubrication and viscosity that is optimal for orbital movement. So this is the strongest reason. We really need a lubrication system and viscosity, pad designs, and consumables specific to the rotary movement. So there you have it. Those are the reasons why that system is unique. So getting into the features and the individual details of our compounds and polish, I will begin to describe these for you now. And after this section, we will switch it over to Fabrizio, who will talk about the pads. And then we will go to Florida with Todd to talk about application procedure. So with this, starting with the DA coarse, our blue capped heavy cut compound, which is consistent throughout all of our compound offerings. Blue cap means our strongest compound product for severe defects or sanding marks. Now, DA coarse is formulated for all orbital polishers. meaning random orbital and gear-driven or force rotation orbitals. We've delivered into this formula more cut, better finish that is relative to our own products, but also to the competition. And those of you that have used it, you know what I'm talking about. So we've built in this lubrication system that is ideal for the orbital movements, giving it a little bit of an extended polishing cycle. And we've reduced dust. So our goal was to give you the best user experience possible, meaning smooth application, less dusting, without sacrificing cut and finish. This product is ideal for sandy marks and severe defects. Now, if you compare this product into our category of strong compound cutters, we have the Zephyr, the Course, the Miele Course, and the UHS Easy Gloss system. So relative to our current products, you can expect that if you look at this bar graph, the scale here from 1 to 10, 10 meaning the strongest cut and 1 the strongest finish, you can see that we have extended the performance range. This was our goal for this product. Extend its cutting capability, but also its finishing ability. So relative to our other products, you will experience this with this. And we actually call this in positioning, this is our latest and greatest technology, our greatest performance. So that is where it's positioned relative to our other products. On to the DA Fine. Now this is our yellow cap product, which is a medium compound in the polishing range. And this is also formulated for all orbital polishers, the random orbital and the gear-driven Miele and any force rotation tool. This product is absolutely amazing. We have introduced a new technology in abrasive. This is very, very tiny micro abrasive that is delivering exceptional cut and finish. We've also, consistent with our other products, want to have the absolute best user experience. And if you've used this, you know what we're talking about because the wipe off is extremely fast. Very, very low to no dust. But again, we have expanded its performance range. So as you can see relative to our other products, this product, DA Fine, cuts really good, right in the range of ceramic, because ceramic already was a fantastic cutting product, but it also had the benefit of exceptional finishing. So we're right in the game there with ceramic on a cut. But we've improved the finishing and the user experience. So that wipe off is extremely fast. And again, relative to the other products in our category, this one is our latest and greatest, our best foot forward on performance of a yellow cap product. Now also introducing Uno Pure. This is a new addition to the Uno family. This is an ultra fine finishing polish. It is, unlike the other products, this is universal across all of the tool types. So Uno Pure can be applied rotary, random orbital, gear-driven orbital. It has, in its formula, true to the name, so Uno Pure means no intentional fillers, no gloss enhancers, not masking the paint, not leaving behind any solids. When you write this residue, what you see is what you get. That's what we mean by the pure finish. We have introduced a brand new abrasive in this product that mechanically creates that clarity. It's not with polishing oils, not with smoke and mirrors. It is a mechanical action that actually converts the surface to more clarity. Now we are super excited about this product. Our goal with our production team, our development team, sorry, is that we wanted to address all of the challenges that you face on hard to finish paints. So haze prone paints, sticky paint, soft paint, delicate paint, hard to finish paints. We wanted a product that would guarantee the solution for all of those challenges. And we are very happy about this performance, and we're expecting you to be extremely excited about the experience of this product because you can apply it to any problem paint and it will finish amazingly well. So we're super excited about this. This product actually does replace some other products. So we're in this transition with this category, and this product will replace the other ones that are in this category. So our rotary ultrafine, our Melee ultrafine, and the random orbital diamond polish, the Uno Pure, we will migrate all of those products and focus on this one. We are so excited about this technology in this bottle, and we know you will as well. This is our absolute best performance on ultra finishing. One more thing to say about the Uno Pure is it is in addition to our Uno family of products. You might be aware of the Uno Protect. You've been using that for a while. You're excited about that. Both of these are now in the Uno family, meaning that these products can be applied across any polish or movement. Now, the difference between these two products is the Uno Pure, which has amazing finishing ability, but does not leave any solids behind and does not have any protective qualities. So this will leave that finish without any protective qualities. Uno Protect, on the other hand, finishes well, cuts well, and does leave something behind on the surface. So it leaves protection that's in the range of about 3 months of a natural wax and polymer sealant type protection. So those are the differences between those two Uno products. Now, to summarize, we are introducing these products in this new system, our new DA Coarse, DA Fine, Uno Pure, and Uno Protect. You can see the extended range of the cut and finish on our bar graph here, and we are just super pumped. I want to remind you something you may not know, which is our development team has spent over 2 years working on the system. So a lot of people, a lot of time, and a lot of people all over the world have been working on the performance of this system. So we are super pumped, and we're happy to present this to you now. What I'm going to do now is I will transition over to Fabrizio, who will actually give you the details about our new foam pads.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's a true honor for me to be here with such people like Jason and Todd and Dylan. And today I'm also quite excited because while on one hand we have started in some regions to present and sell our new compounds, for the foam pads, this is quite a premiere. It's quite the first time I have, I can see and I can show this new foam pads. So there's a lot to say. I will try to be short. But let me just say one thing about the new compounds. The most common comment, we will see some comments later from our customers, but the most common on this side was they can't be true. They must contain filler because they are so good that I cannot believe that they are honest compounds. They must have something that mask, that hide, that cover the defects and the scratches. Well, as Jason said very correctly, very properly, we don't have any kind of filler inside our compounds, inside our DA Coarse, DA Fine, or Uno Pure. But let's go and see the new DA foam pads. So let's start. Let's see if it's working. Yeah, very good. Let's see what we have changed. Now, of course, what I'm saying is valid for all our older pads, foam pads. They were very good, but they were like 10 years old. So in these 10 years, of course, we had a good development of the technology. Technology has improved. There are new materials. We couldn't leave there what was today quite old. And so we have decided to try and find some alternatives that could perform better than the old technologies. Of course, what we have tried to do was finding solutions to have a better cut, but at the same time, a better finish. But what was very important for us was to have something that was more durable, that could be more durable. And so we have focused on this parameter. And also we tried to improve a little bit the performances and also the design. As you know, our mantra, we will see it later, we have seen before, is innovation, technology, and design. So we have improved the design with a new profile. We will see it in a few seconds. And also to reduce the number of part number of products that we are selling, just to make our offer easier, more simple for all the users, for all our distributors, for all the people that have our tools and use our tools. So something that could be dual action, just like the compounds that we have done dual action, usable with random orbital and gear driven, the same for the pads. Let's go and see. Let's start from the product range. We have, of course, the coarse foam, the blue one, which is totally different from the previous one. New foam, new material. You can visually see the difference. You can touch the difference. You can feel the difference with the touch. So we have a lot of difference from the material point of view. About the yellow one, instead we have the same material. What we have changed is also a little bit the color. You can probably see the difference here. I don't know if in the very small window you can feel, you can appreciate the difference, but there's quite a difference in the shade of color, but the material is the same we had before. And about the white, we have a totally different material again, and we also have something that is specific for our new families, the new Uno family, and the color is the same, but we have improved the resistance to the UV light, so the color remains the same. It does not turn to yellow, it does not yellowish with time. So let's go and try to analyze the design, how it is made. So we have said, we have slightly changed the height, the thickness of the pad is 25 millimeters or 1 inch, depending if you're European or American. 25 millimeters or 1 inch for all the different measures. We have 75 millimeter, 3 inches. We have 125 millimeters, 5 inches, and we have 150 millimeters, 6 inches for the, that's the diameter. So we have 3 measures at the moment. We don't have the nano foams available yet. The new one, for the moment, we will keep the old one. But it's a transition time, so just give us the time to do everything. This different thickness is because we had the thicker pads for the random orbital and the thinner pads for the gear driven. So now we have unified everything and we have done an intermediate thickness. We have kept the hole, the central hole, as we had before. This is for centering the pad to the backing plate, but also to allow a better cooling of the system and don't have an accumulation of heat inside the center of the pad. And we also have the new patented contour profile. This has 2 main reasons. One is just aesthetical. This contour, this profile, I think it's much better, it's more beautiful to see, but also we have an advantage in terms of performances because the previous one, which had a very sharp angle, could give sometimes, it didn't, but sometimes people complained because they said, oh, it's hitting too hard some edges or some other materials that we have on the car. This new one is smoother, so you can work much better with more safety and with more efficiency, also in the corners, in the contours, in the tight areas of the car. So that's the reason of the new kind of contour. Let's go now and see each of them. So the new blue foam pad we have done something that will in time substitute the green and the blue. The old green and the old blue, they had some different applications. One was more for soft paints, the other, the original blue foam. The green foam was more for older paint, harder paint. This is something that works pretty good in both the situations. So you can do a very easy and good job with many different kind of paints. Then what was very important was to improve the durability, because the old blue one, we had some customers saying, yeah, it's working good, it's efficient, but sometimes we need 2, 3 to do one car, to do 2 cars. And that was quite a common complaint. So we had decided to introduce this new foam, which has a much higher durability, and you can work longer with the same pad. And also another thing was that the old one was quite rough. The touch, you could feel the roughness of the material, and a lot of people were frightened of this material. So this new one is smoother, and you can work better on any situation, on any kind of paint, with any kind of polisher. So we might say that the advantage of having this new material is we broadened the application field of this material, of the new foam pad, of the new blue foam pad, and it will go with time to substitute the original blue and the green. Why I say with time? Because we think that technically there's no reason to use the old ones, but if someone has still the need to make some comparison to understand which one's better and do some studies, the old one will be available for some times yet, but not forever. I hope that very soon all the people will transition to the new products. Open cells means reticulated foam, all of them. You know why, we have said this many times, better flow of air, lower temperature, better distribution of the compound. So many reasons why we have decided to use reticulated cells and reticulated foams. Let's go to the yellow one. The yellow one, it's many times the most common comment I hear is, that's your best product. I'm talking about the old one, the original yellow foam. Many customers say, we think that's the best foam on the market. We have tried to improve it, we couldn't success. And so we kept the same material because it's fantastic already. We only had changed a little bit the color to distinguish, to make clear which one is the old one, which one is the new one. But what we can say we have improved is the shape of the pad. Again, the new profile has a better behavior next, close to the corners or to the contours or to the tight areas. And again, it's compatible with random orbital and with gear driven. So the new one has the same cut, has basically the same. Here you can see a very minor difference, but it's very similar. I would say it's the same, but we have the improvement given by the shape. Then we have the white one. The white one has a totally different formula. It's a new foam, it's a new material, it's a better material. Especially what we have improved is the lubrication. So the old one, sometimes you could feel that it was hard to make it flow on the paint. This one is much smoother in the action that it has on the surface, so the temperature remains lower, and especially it's formulated for working with our new products Uno Pure, Uno Protect, that are perfectly compatible and perfectly working with this new foam. And that's the kind of foam that we have done. We cannot say we have a better cut, but we definitely have, especially when used together with Uno Pure, we have a much better finish. And that's about the white. So a very small recap. 9.DH is the blue. That's the part number of the blue, better cut. That's debatable, I would say, but most of the time you have a better cut. Of course, it's paint dependent. Sometimes you cannot feel the difference, but I would say most of the times, I cannot give a percentage, but most of the times you can feel, you can see the difference at the end of the work. And this one, the new one, is cutting more than the old one. You have, again, many times, but I would say this time almost always a better finish. But especially what we have tried to achieve, and I think we succeeded in that, is to have a better durability. So be able to make more cars, more panels with just one foam. Then 90HM, which is the yellow one, is same material, different color, different shape. And 9DAS is the new material, is the white one, new material, more versatile. It goes along very well with the Uno products, with the Uno family. That's the real advantage of this new pad. I think that this said from my side is everything. I will give the word back to Jason or to Todd. I don't know, because we have to transition the control of the slides. I think we'll directly go to Todd, right?
Yeah, hey Fabrizio, thank you so much for that excellent presentation of the new DA foam pads, and of course to Jason for his introduction and presentation of the DA polishing compounds. With this new system, there's going to be some changes, minor changes to existing techniques. So the core techniques remain the same. If you're familiar with either the Mealy or random orbital system, application area, the amount of pressure used, transverse rates, all of this is the same. In fact, the new systems were developed with these parameters in mind, but we're going to see slight changes. One of the changes we're going to see is to the priming procedure, particularly with the new DA foam pads. This procedure is going to become synchronized, so it's a little bit easier to use, but it is for the new DA foam. So if you're using other polishing liquids on the new foam pads, we would recommend trying the upcoming priming procedure on those. So keep in mind it's for those pads. If you're using fiber pads, so the DA microfiber or the DA wool pads, we would use the previous suggestions we have laid out, which is just slightly different. With the new DA foam polishing pads, the main reason we have been able to make this change is to synchronize the system. With previously, the gear-driven, the Mealy and the random orbital had two different procedures. And then when you consider that with all the different products, it could get a little bit overwhelming. So this is going to make it even easier. And one of the things that we've always strived for at RUPES is to make high-quality polishing results available to anybody, right? It is why the random orbital system initially became so popular. And so we're going to continue down that pathway, and by utilizing the new products and synchronizing this procedure, now the technician can do a better job easier. And that really is the goal. The reason that we prime the pads to begin with is because it increases the durability and the performance of both the pad and the compound. So we consider it to be a necessary step. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve peak performance till your third or fourth application. This allows us to start with our best foot forward immediately on the paint. And ultimately, by adding a little bit more product at the beginning, you reduce the amount you load onto the pad in subsequent applications, so you get a better final result. So if you've attended any BigFoot class or followed any of our webinars, any BigFoot electric tool, we have always said, use speed 2. And that doesn't change. So the first step with the new foam pad priming is you're going to set your electric tool to speed 2. If you're using one of the LTA air-driven triple action orbitals or the 75 pneumatic mini, about 30% power roughly. And so set to speed 2. Of course, attach your foam pad. And here's where the main difference is. Previously, with the random orbital, we would suggest putting a number of dots of compound around the outside. But that number would change depending on the diameter of the pad and personal preference. if you're using the melee, we said draw an X. Well, now for all of the new pads, particularly with the DA polishing compounds, just draw an X across the surface. And of course, the smaller the diameter of the pad, the less product you add because the diameter of that pad is smaller. So you're going to kind of get the ideal amount of compound or polishing compound on the pad immediately. After that, the performance or the application is similar. Apply it to the paint, squeeze the trigger on speed 2 and run it for about 30 seconds. You're going to hold the machine relatively, you're going to hold it in a stable position. You're not going to move it back and forth or left and right. So as you keep it flat and move it, allow that polishing foam to come up to temperature. And it's also going to spread the liquid compound across the face of the pad. And then the third step, or the fourth step, is to inspect the finish of the pad. And I'm not sure, Jason, I've lost, there we go, okay. So we're gonna inspect the finish of the pad and make sure that the polish has migrated across. If there's any dry spots or if there's any bare spots on the pad, add a little bit more polishing liquid and repeat step 3, run it for another 30 seconds. And that should be enough to prime the pad and get it moving. So again, this process is the same if it's random orbital or gear driven. The next thing we need to look at is the actual polishing application. This also becomes simpler because of the new system. The extended range of the compound and polish means that we can get more defect removal and a better finish in just one step. And another one of the goals of the original BigFoot random orbital polishing system was to deliver the best results possible in one step. And previously, the random orbital polisher with the large diameter is what allowed this to happen with the right components. But now with the extended polishing ranges of the pads and the compounds, we can do this with even the gear-driven melee. So the way we're going to look at the application is to insert the new DA polishes into our existing, and pads into the existing flow chart, and kind of give some examples of what to expect as we dial in a process for the paint. And again, it's easier because of the increased performance of the new pads. The most important thing when working on a new car, dialing in the system to that car or that vehicle's paint, is the test spot. And our recommendation generally is going to be the DA wool pad and the DA fine yellow polish. This gives us the broadest range of defect removal and finishing ability, right? It really hits in the middle and gives us both. So it's a great combination to dial in the paint. The test spot is basically a full application in that area. So we're going to do an application area 6 times the size of the pad. We're going to use enough pressure to hold the pad to the surface and go over that area for 45 seconds to a minute. Wipe off the surface and inspect. And you're going to get one of 3 results when we inspect the finish with this combination. The ideal result is that you have removed all of your target defects and you have created a very high gloss finish. It's done. Congratulations. The car and the paint are working perfectly with the performance of the system. Repeat that step throughout the car, of course, cleaning your pad, switching to a fresh pad when necessary, and always inspecting your finish to make sure you don't end up working on a different paint that reacts differently, right? Most vehicles have different paints. But this would be the first result. Target defects removed, paint finish is more than acceptable, and repeat that pattern. The other thing that can happen, the other result, is that you are able to remove the target defects, but the finished quality isn't quite what we were hoping for. It's a little bit hazy. With the melee or a gear driven, sometimes you can have a repeating pattern. So in this case, what we're going to do is go down and step down the aggressiveness to something a little bit finer, maybe substitute the yellow wool pad for the new DA fine yellow foam polishing pad, and repeat the test spot. If we remove the target defects and the paint looks great, we're done. If we still see some defects hanging on, then we know that we're going to have to separate the defect removal step from the finishing step, and we need to dial in those 2 steps. And then the third result is we do that initial application with the DA yellow wool pad and the DA fine polish. We wipe it off and we still see some target defects, some deeper scratches, maybe some acid rain, maybe a sanding mark. In this case, we're going to actually move up the scale in aggressiveness and repeat the test spot until we find the right combination that removes the target defects, and then we will inspect the finish. So we have some flow charts on the following slides that kind of lay out what we consider to be a typical application process. So you can see on the left of your screen is the new DA coarse compound, which is paired up with both fiber pads, the DA blue microfiber and the DA wool pad. And then also we have, as we move to your right, you're going to see two pathways. On the top is DA fine and Uno pure. And this represents if you're choosing a pathway that has no wax or protection, because the lower one is Uno protect, which features polymers and waxes. So really that's where we make the break, but the performance is very similar. So starting with the first process, of course, we're recommending the DA yellow fine polish and the DA polishing yellow wool pad. Or alternatively, if we're trying to do it in one step and add the protection, we would substitute the DA yellow fine with Uno protect. So in this case, again, with the DA yellow wool pad, and we're going to polish, and if we're happy with the finish, good. If we wipe off the result and we still see some target defects, we're going to make the next logical step more aggressive. So we're going to substitute the Uno Protect or the DA Fine for the DA Coarse, the blue capped compound, and the blue foam pad. Now, this combination, particularly with the extended range, the increased cutting and finishing of both the pad and the polishing compound, really still presents a one-step polishing solution on a majority of paints. So even though we've increased the aggressiveness, there is a very high probability that the finish quality is also going to be acceptable. We repeat the test spot, we inspect for those target defects. If we still have target defects, we're going to go ahead and move one step more aggressive, and that would be by substituting the blue foam pad with either the DA coarse microfiber or the DA coarse wool pad, again with the DA coarse blue compound. And this represents the most aggressive combination offered on either, or any orbital polisher. Repeat the application. If there's still defects, we might need to repeat that application a second time. There are other options to switch perhaps to the rotary and the blue and white rotary foam pad with the rotary coarse compound, or technique adjustments that we usually cover in our academies and on-the-road classes on how to increase cutting power. But this does represent the most aggressive step. And the beauty with the new DA system is that step is even more aggressive than it was previously. So at any one of these steps, when we find that we've removed the target defects, we want to inspect the finish. And at any point, because of the versatility and extended range, if we're happy with that finish, we're completely done. We can, if we chose a path without wax or polymer sealant, or we wanted to apply a coating, we would apply a coating. But the polishing step is done. If we chose a pathway that featured Uno Protect, we would simply let the residue cure, wipe it off, and we are completely done with the detail. However, there is going to be situations when after we remove the target defects, we wipe off the residue and there is some haze, there is a little bit of micro marring available. So in the case we started with the DA course, and any of the pads, any of the blue pads, and we notice a little bit of a haze. Probably it's medium to soft, dark color paint. So now we have to have a second step. It's a multiple step process. That second step would consist of either DA fine yellow polish or the Uno Protect on the yellow DA foam pad. And in our validation, in our testing, Jason mentioned earlier that it was a 2-year development cycle. We found that the yellow foam pad with either of these products is able to remove the marring from the blue step, right? So we always talk about blue-yellow. If you've been to our classes or you're familiar with the system, you'll hear blue-yellow. So this represents our blue-yellow, our step 1 for the defect removal, our step 2 for the polish. And this becomes the most popular 2-step combination that we have. We even find that the yellow step is capable of removing any holograms or marring if the first step was a rotary. So this is a really, really good combination if we need that second step. There is an alternative to this, and that is when we first did the test spot, we recommend using the yellow wool pad with the DA fine polish. And in this case, if we remove all the target defects, but we do notice a slight haze. Imagine you're working on a really soft paint, a Porsche, a Subaru, something like this, and you see just a little bit of haze, now we're going to want to follow that up with a even finer second step. We could go to the yellow foam pad and repeat the application. If that doesn't work, we would recommend stepping down to a yellow-white combination. So what we would say is DA Fine is the first step with one of the fiber pads, or perhaps even the foam pad, and then either Uno Pure or Uno Protect with the new DA Ultrafine White Polishing Foam. So that kind of lays out the logical progression. The most popular one step that we have, and it's even better than before, is the Uno Protect, which of course has been on the market for a while now. And the rave reviews keep rolling in. We're so proud of that product. And pairing it with the yellow, the DA yellow wool pad gives us a great range of cut and finish. Alternatively, if we're looking to add wax protection or a different type of protection, we would substitute the Uno Protect for the DA Fine. You get a little bit more polishing ability because of that, and so can remove a little bit more target defects. But these are, either one of these products with that DA wool pad is a phenomenal one step on either the Miele or the random orbital. We also have a very popular two-step, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, and it's really in our vocabulary at RUPES, and it's the blue-yellow. So the DA course is generally paired with one of the blue foam pads, or the most popular option would be the DA wool pad, the coarse blue wool pad, and that's used to remove the defects. And then the follow-up would be the DA Fine Polish, the yellow cap polish with the new DA Fine yellow pad, or, of course, Uno Protect if we're trying to add protection at the end of that. We should not forget about Uno Pure. And this product is so great. And so I'm an old school guy. I started with a rotary, so for sure the rotary users that are watching right now know how difficult it is to achieve a hologram-free finish, soft black cars. That kind of is the truth with a rotary. And Uno Pure has made it easier than any other product I've ever tried. It is such a groundbreaking technology that if we didn't have all these excellent products that we were releasing right now, we could do an entire webinar series on this product. So we don't want to overlook the amazing performance of this. How does it fit in with a typical process? Well, blue-yellow is our most popular two-step combination. But if your initial step leaves just a fine haze, even if you were using the blue foam with the DA course, and it's just a very slight mark, or you're working on a show car and you want to take it all the way, then Uno Pure with the DA Ultra Fine White Pad is an excellent follow-up step for that. We should not also forget that it is a great one-step correction if you're just doing a maintenance polish on a show car you take care of, or certain parts of certain vehicles, like those black painted plastic B-pillar caps that you see on like a lot of trucks and luxury cars. This will deliver a super high gloss, super fast. The cutting action of this system is quite impressive. It's almost a case where we've built so much overlap in it to make it simpler that we don't want to forget about this. On very rare occasions, outside of that concourse show car deal, it's very rare to have to do 3 steps with the new technologies. But if you do, and you're working on extremely haze-prone paint, then Uno Pure might be the best finishing step. And if the paint was really, really damaged at the beginning, you might need something like a blue combination to begin it. So that is kind of a recap. And as we look at these new products and the new application procedures, particularly the synchronization of the priming across gear-driven and random orbital, we want to look at, did we hit our development goals? Have we continued to improve the performance of our products? There's absolutely no doubt that we hit this goal. There's no doubt. The product performance in terms of cutting and finishing across the board has improved. And this has allowed us, because the design goals were running simultaneously, to simplify not only the product offering, but we've also simplified the application process. It's even easier for anybody to get even a better finish faster. Because these products, the pads, the polishing compounds, all of this has been done completely in-house with a great collaboration of RUPES employees around the world, and they are manufactured by RUPES in Italy. We have demonstrated our ability. And really the first two, innovation, technology, and design, are the reasons we were able to meet all of these goals. We have accomplished our mission. And if the design is beautiful. And to speak more about the design, I'm going to hand it over to Dylan von Kleist, who is our marketing manager in the United States. And he's going to run us through some of the packaging and some of the label changes and how it makes it even easier to get this awesome performance with our new system. So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd. Well done to both you, Fabrizio, and I should say Jason as well. I know we're all very excited about this stuff. So this is I hope you guys out there watching are enjoying. I'm having fun answering all your questions in the chat box. And for those of you who've asked a lot of different questions, I've got you kind of queued up, and at the end we'll be answering a lot of those. So if I haven't gotten to you yet, we're either going to answer it live or do our best to answer it live at the end. So what I want to talk to you about a little bit now is the packaging. So we want to make it clear that this isn't just pretty packaging with the same old formulas. There's been, to Jason's point, multiple years of development in these compounds and pads to get our absolute best performing system ever to market. And a part of that is we wanted to give it a facelift. And the marketing team has done an amazing job over in Italy with coming up with some beautiful new designs. Because heck, if it works great and it looks good, 2 thumbs up, right? So one of the primary things you'll notice in our new packaging on the compounds is the labels. And you've probably already seen this with Uno Protect if you've used that, but these features will translate to the new product packaging as well. So we're including directions, specific directions on the packaging for proper use, the RUPES recommended steps for usage. We're also taking it a step further and giving you these tips for success. And these are little extra pieces of information that help you maximize the performance of that product, or maybe make some recommendations for applications, or maybe applications that don't work for this product. So some very specific information about how to use that product more successfully. Obviously, we're including a description of what the product's intended results are, what it's meant to go after, severe defects, what type of sand scratches, and those things. And then we are including iconography on each label that indicates what tool movements that works with. So we understand we've got, or at least at the moment, we have the current system, we have the new system. There's a lot of moving pieces to this. Just a simple visual indication on the package itself. What does that compound work with? What tool should you be using it with? And if you don't see the icon, so for example, on the DA compound here, DA course, it's got the gear driven and the random orbital icons indicated, no rotary, so it would not be recommended for rotary use, obviously. So next we move to the pads. So the pad packaging is a whole new thing, and I'm really, really impressed with these after seeing them. So we are going to a metallic film. It has a high level of weldability, so that means that it gets a positive seal on the package. It means nothing gets in once this pad is packaged in our factory. It's extremely tear and puncture resistant, so if it's being shipped, for those of you end users out in the audience that are purchasing from one of our authorized distributors, if they place one of these pads in a box with a bunch of other things, the packaging that's protecting that pad is extremely puncture resistant. So in the off chance maybe a bottle breaks open in transit or the package is mishandled, your pad's going to arrive protected, or as protected as it can be. On top of that, they match the compound, so we have that similar branding, so it makes it very clear. The DA course pad will look very similar to the DA course compound. Very easy to make that association. So for those of you who work in maybe a high volume shop with a lot of employees, it's a very easy grab the blue and the blue. No confusion about what's going on there. Because these are an opaque film material, metallic film, they are completely protected from UV, so you've got no UV exposure to the pad, so that's not degrading the pad material. Many other packages on the market use a clear cellophane or a clear plastic. If there's any sun exposure in a showroom or while it's in your shop, the UV can over time damage that foam material, make it perform not as optimal. So we're giving you a pad that from the time you receive it until when you're ready to open it, it is fully protected from dust, UV, and moisture and humidity, which can all have a negative impact on performance over time. Just like with the compounds, we're adding the tips for success and instructions and compatibility information on this packaging. So you've got all the information you need when you pick that up. And again, I go back to anybody who has maybe employees working for them in a high volume shop. This is just another layer of information that helps you achieve success with the products without having to take any guesses or anything about what's compatible with which different tool or which different compound. So the guys have been talking. We've been receiving a lot of reviews, and over a 2-year development cycle, we've had this in the hands of independent reviewers, independent testers, some distribution partners. Obviously, our employees have been intimately involved in the process as well, salespeople in the field. So we've gathered a ton of feedback. We tried to trim it down. This is already a very long presentation, and we don't want to bore you guys too much with details, but some key things that we wanted to just highlight. So talking about the DA course compound and pad, we received these comments: spectacular. I think there's no better compound on the market, and the course cuts so fast and finishes so clean, it will definitely be in my collection. And that came from one of our independent reviewers, who was a little bit of a hard sell. He was very loyal to another brand and didn't think we could change his mind, but after using it, he's a believer in this new system. So thinking of then the yellow, the DA fine compound or fine polishing compound and pad, we got some spectacular reviews on that as well, picked a few. So we had somebody who was testing that was trying to make it fail, trying to find this thing that couldn't do well. So he tried so hard to get it to show weakness, and he's still trying. So one of our testers is out there still trying to find a flaw in it, and he can't. And the lower comment there, amazed with the performance and results, works well on hard and soft paints. I will echo that. I've used this product on extremely soft paints and seen incredible results on paints that are very typically hard to finish or very haze prone. I've been astounded with the results I've been able to see personally with the yellow combo. And not to be forgotten, Uno Pure. This product is as niche as it is, as Todd was explaining, is just incredible. The abrasive technology in this, our team really knocked it out of the park, and I think this is a product that's a real sleeper, underrated for many people. Most people don't consider that ultra fine polish in their arsenal, but this gives you so much versatility. So we had a tester say they could not find a product that performed like this. It's just incredible. And then the white pads, just game changers for them. So we're extremely happy with the feedback we've received over the design process and development process of these products. It's just been phenomenal to get the feedback and take the criticisms and go back to the drawing board and tweak and continue to refine these products to the level they're at now. Truly world-class performance on these. So I've answered a lot of questions already for you guys in the comments about this, about availability. So when can you start buying this stuff in your market? As RUPES operates our global headquarters in Italy, where these products are all being blended, manufactured, packaged, and everything. And we have our US warehouse. We're currently building up stock, but the availability in the world is going to vary based on where you are. So the one thing we can say is the new DA systems are available in Europe and select global markets now. So contact your authorized distributor in your market to see if they've got an order in for it or if they've started receiving these products already. If they don't have them yet, they should be receiving them very soon. If you have any questions and you are a distributor and you haven't placed an order yet, get in touch with your area sales manager, your authorized RUPES area sales manager, and they can help you get that order in so that you can start to stock these. Now, for those of us over here in North America, all our friends up north in Canada and down south in Mexico, we will begin shipping these products to authorized distributors in August, mid to late August, most likely. They are in transit right now. They're on container ships on the ocean on their way here. Once we have sufficient stock here in Colorado to start fulfilling requests, we will start shipping to distributors, and distributors will start shipping to customers. So we're very close, almost there. You're starting to see some samples get out into the market. Some of our distributors are testing this and validating the products and including more rave reviews for them. So we're super excited to get these into your hands. So for a little bit more information, if you guys have any questions after we get done with the Q&A section here at the very end, on your screen right now you have all the contact information for both of our offices. So if you are located anywhere outside of North America, on the left-hand side, you have all the information for our global headquarters, email, Facebook. Feel free to pose questions there about these products. We will route you to the appropriate person. If you're looking to purchase, we'll get you in touch with the right distributor for that. If you're in North America, our office is here, then just send us an email or any one of those communication channels there. We'll be happy to assist you in getting connected with someone or helping any technical questions you might have. I would also like to mention too, if you haven't yet, our YouTube channel is now a global and unified channel. So there's one RUPES channel out there. youtube.com/RUPES. We're putting a ton of content out, the new RUPES Replies series. So go check that out, get subscribed. We will be adding content specific to these products on that channel. So if you had any technical questions, I had a few people ask about actual results, 50-50 shots. Can I see the performance? We're going to start posting videos and things like that that will highlight the performance of these products in specific situations. So good place to get that information. Make sure you go and subscribe to us on that channel. And lastly, for those of you that have been using our paint correction app, so this app has been fully updated, includes the new product information. A few of you asked for charts and references and things like that for cut. This is going to be your best option. This app is a web app. You can scan that QR code on the screen right now with your smartphone, and it will take you to the app. But you can select your paint hardness, type a defect, the tool you're working with, and the app will return a recommendation for which product combination is most likely to solve that problem. Excellent resource, a lot better in my opinion than just a simple chart, because then you can play with the variables and get very, very tuned answers to the specific defect or the specific paint type or whatever you're working with there. If you don't have your smartphone handy and you can't scan that right now, below you'll see the web address app.rupes.com/paint-correction, and that will take you there. So I'm leaving this up for just a few seconds for any of you that want to scan that with your smartphone, or you can scan it later on the recording. So now we ask all of our presenters to unmute themselves, turn your video cameras back on, guys, and we've got a whole lot of questions to answer, so I'll start queuing some of these up for you. But first of all, I wanted to thank the three of you guys. Excellent job, and a lot of positive comments both on social media and in the webinar. You guys did a great job explaining this stuff, and somebody was so excited they called Todd.
Yeah, I was hoping that didn't go through, but I guess it did. The problem with the Mac, of course, is that your phone call comes up on your computer, and the only phone call I got was at the most inopportune time. Now some friends will start calling every time we do this.
They're just calling to place orders, Todd. That's what it was. They want to place orders for the whole DA system immediately. They just called the wrong guy. Yeah. So I've got a whole lot of questions. Again, everybody, I'm going to try to get to as many of these as I can. For any of you that are watching on Facebook Live, I do see your questions coming in, but it's a lot. So what we'll do is we're going to address the questions within the webinar. If you posted a question in the Facebook Live feed, we will go back to those comments after the live broadcast and answer those for you there, because there's a lot of good questions there as well. But we'll start at the top, and he actually emailed me before, but Zubair sent me email before the webinar and wanted to know, would we have charts and explanations for all these? He specifically wanted to know cut and gloss ratings for each compound. I think we covered that. And he also wanted to know about cut and durability of the foam. So I think we covered that. But did you guys want to make any more specific comments about cutting and finishing range in terms of quantifying how much more we can kind of expect out of these products versus the previous generation?
Well, it's tough to answer in a general terms, but one statement you can make about all the new products is our development team was looking at cut and finish relative to not only our products, but also products on the market. And our goal was to exceed and be superior in both cut and finish, at the same time not making sacrifices in the user experience. So it's a general statement that all of these cut and finish better than other versions. However, individually, it would take some time to talk about each one individually. I think the blue DA coarse is our strongest cutter at this time, and the yellow DA fine cuts just as good or better than ceramic. But it's hard to answer because there's a lot of variables that impact that.
Yeah, and I would also say, to the point of we'll be putting up a ton of content on the YouTube channel, and there may even be follow-up webinars to this one where we get a little bit more specific about a product, because this is a lot of information to jam into one. To really dive into specifics on each one would take a significant amount of time. So stay tuned for more information on these. We're definitely going to be putting out a lot of information on these going forward. We had a question from Johan. He wanted to know specifically, since the blue DA compound has more durable lubrication, does that mean that a supplemental wetting agent, spring water, is no longer necessary or useful? So would you still recommend an SWA even though the compounds have more lubrication in them?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
No, take it.
Okay. The SWA, the idea, for those who aren't familiar, is you complete a normal polishing cycle of 45 seconds to a minute. And then instead of wiping off the residue and reapplying a polishing compound to your pad and then repeating the application for more cut, you simply leave the residue on the finish, add 1.5 mists of water over it, and then apply another cycle, roughly half a cycle over it. And that actually can increase your cut 30 to 40% more than adding additional product and repeating the application. So the more durable lubrication of the DA coarse compound does not change that application. The SWA, or the water misting, is still going to feature that boost in performance. The idea of the SWA was never to cut down on dusting. In fact, if you were using it in that regard, probably you weren't getting ideal performance. Anyways, you live in a very dry climate, so you're going to notice an immediate increase in performance off the bat. So no, it doesn't replace the SWA. The SWA, particularly on fiber pads, is still a very, very effective technique with the new technology and the new polishing compounds, or even with the foam pads, but it's not a replacement for it. It's in addition to.
Good answer. Anything additional, guys, or can we move to our next one?
Yeah, well said. One additional comment I would make is that the formulas are water-based, consistent with a lot of our other compounds and polishes. So using SWA, they're actually tuned, procedures to work with each other. But I really like Todd's answer. It, the SWA is not affected by these new products. It boosts performance as expected.
Perfect.
So we still prefer you add more product, because then you're not
it's better for business.
Yeah, please.
This is a little bit more of a question just kind of about our approach to development. So Jason and Fabrizio and Todd too, actually, you can comment a little bit more about this, but they wanted to know, did we take a look at common complaints with the current systems, and did we take that into consideration in development of this? Were the products developed to address user complaints or even maybe shortcomings in the current systems?
Fabrizio, you want to take that one?
Yeah, okay. Now, one of the advantages of being a company like RUPES, which is small enough to know almost all of its customers, but big enough to have one of the customers everywhere in the world, is you receive a lot of comments, a lot of opinions from all over the world, from small distributors to big ones, small body shops in almost unknown place somewhere in the world to the center of New York. And you can collect all of them, and many times you see that they are all quite consistent. I mean, that the complaint coming from one and the complaint coming from another one, they are usually very similar. So that's the advantage. And of course we did. Of course, as I said, we made a huge change in the formulation, in the kind of foam of our blue foam pad. We had before a very performing foam, but a lot of people didn't want to use it because when they touched it, it felt very rough. They didn't want to use it. And so we have collected this, and we tried something that is smoother. At the same time, we had a lot of people complaining because they said it's not durable enough, and we changed it in order to have something that is more durable. So, of course, we take all the opinions, and when we have a huge number of them saying the same thing, of course, if we have just one saying something, we probably don't listen to it too much. But when we have 10, 20, 30, 100, 1,000, all saying the same, we will address our development of new products in that direction. And I think it's what we have done. In my opinion, let's consider the blue system. The big improvements we have done is the durability of this one and the dust, which we had a lot of dust with Zephyr, which still is a great product. But it created a lot of dust, and we tried to do something more creamy, longer, that produces less dust. So these are the two most easy, the two easiest examples that come to my mind at this moment.
Good stuff. All right. So somebody had a question about Uno Pure on fresh paints. Is it safe for fresh paint? So I'm assuming body shop application.
Yeah, I'll take this one. The formula is safe for body shop application. In fact, it's much safer than many other products on the market in that respect. There's no fillers, no silicones, no waxes, no polymers, nothing in the formula that stays behind on the paint in any way. So you wipe this residue, and it's called Uno Pure for a reason. It leaves that pure finish.
And as a follow-up to that, we had a question from Tim. He wanted to know, okay, if Uno Pure does not contain any fillers, does that mean that the DA Coarse and Fine do?
No.
Yeah. The absence of one in one does not mean the existence of one in the others.
You can probably say, because it's something we say very freely, that we have one compound that contains fillers. It's the Uno Protect. Okay, that contains intentional fillers because they also have the purpose of giving protection, and so they come all together in the same bottle. But all the others, they are totally free of intentional fillers. DA Coarse, DA Fine, Uno Pure, and all the others, Rotary and all of them, they are free.
Dylan, I had perused some of the questions earlier, and I did see a question there where somebody was saying they were using the yellow, and I wasn't familiar if that was ceramic or the new DA Fine. And they had a situation where they repeatedly wiped it with alcohol, and there was some defect mark return. And the question was then, does it have fillers? And the products don't have fillers, but some paints, because paints have various levels of porosity, you can have some lubricant. Any polishing liquid, or really any liquid you apply to paint, can cause an unintentional fill. And if that happens on that paint, probably any product out there that you add is going to have that effect. Really soft Subaru paint, if you get it really hot in the polishing process, this is a known problem with that paint. So, but none of the new products, and really, other than Uno Protect, none of the BigFoot polishing products really have ever been designed with intentional fillers. That's never been a design parameter for any of them.
Yeah, good point, because I did see that question as well. So we have a comment from Claudio. He says, which is the best procedure to wash the new foam pads? And on a personal note, he had the pleasure to try the new compounds. They are absolutely game changers. I can't wait to try the new pads as well. As always, thank you for the webinars. So back to his question, do we change our cleaning recommendations for the new foam pads?
You guys want to take that one?
No.
You don't wash pads, you just use them and throw away.
Single-use pads. I'll answer it. The short answer is no. The same process that we've always recommended. So during use, you can use compressed air to blow them out, claw pad brush to break up residues, wet clean as the end of the job approaches. Mild detergent, mild soap, warm water, air dry the pads. All that stays the same. I will say in testing, I've noticed that the blue foam, because the porosity changed, the pores are a little bit smaller. It is a little bit more difficult to remove the residues from that foam than it was the previous generation. The large pores of that old blue foam tended to release residues very easily. It was a big positive for that pad. So you might take a little bit more time to clean the new blue foam, but other than that, the process itself is relatively unchanged. Somebody had a question of, if someone has lots of the old pads, can they use the new compounds with those old pads before changing to the new system?
Yeah, the answer is yes. We actually validated for this. So we understand that in this launch of this new system, there's transitional period in different countries where old and new products exist in the same marketplace. And we've actually took the time to make sure that that was going to be okay. So you can take the new liquids, use them with old pads. You can take the old pads, use them with new liquids, and you'll get great performance.
Good stuff. I'll just keep firing them off to you guys. Go ahead and jump in. Is the white foam only to be used with Uno? So is that the only use for that pad, or is there other uses for that new white foam?
It's not the only, but it is the best. That new white foam, which is absolutely phenomenal, and paired with Uno Pure and Uno Protect, it is amazing. It is like an amazing experience. So, but the white foam can be used with other liquids, and it really has to do with going back to what Todd described as the test spot, and really getting to know the paint and what the paint likes and doesn't like, and there will be times where that white foam is going to be appropriate for a certain paint with another combination of products. So yeah, totally okay.
Right. Question from Luigi. Presence of silicone in these products. So do we have silicone in the new compounds? And this is a bigger conversation about body shop safe and silicone content, but as short and succinctly as you can answer it, compound composition, does it have silicone?
Fabrizio.
Lots of Italian names. Huh?
Yes, yeah, Luigi.
Claudio, we have Luigi now. No silicones. The only product that contains silicone is Uno Protect. As we said, it's anyway body shop safe because the silicones inside are non-volatile, but both in Uno Pure and in DA Coarse and Fine, there are no silicones at all, and the products are 100% body shop safe.
Great answer. Another question, different Tim this time, not the same Tim, wants to know if we will be updating the foam interface piece of the wool pads to match the new foams in the foam pads. Is that a plan? Because he's having durability issues with the blue wool, he says.
Sorry, what's that question?
Update to the wool pads, the DA wool pads, the foam piece. He's having the same durability issues he had with our blue foam pads. He's having with the blue wool pads. He wants to know if that's a potential update he could expect. But he loves the performance of the pads regardless.
Fabrizio, you want to take that one too?
Yes. I know. As I said, this is a very, very good question because it comes right after my previous answer, which was, do we get suggestions from our users? This one about the durability of the blue wool pad was a quite common complaint. So we have changed. We didn't announce it because it's a minor change that didn't really deserve a universal announce of it. But we have changed very recently. Probably it didn't get to US, and probably we're starting right now also in Europe to sell it. We have changed. It's a bit softer, not too much, because we don't want to lose the cut of the product, so we want to keep it. But we have made it slightly softer in order to have higher durability, a higher flexibility that gives a better use feeling, user comfort, and also a higher and a longer durability.
Perfect.
Noting that the foams are different.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're not the same.
The way the question was worded, but it wasn't that we stamped wool onto the existing blue foam. It was a very specific blue foam that was selected for to be a backup to the wool. But as Fabrizio mentioned, really, customer complaints and customer feedback is what drives our development process. So that was a running change to increase the durability previously.
Okay, so from Phil,
this foam on the wool pad, it's different foam specific for that application to be an interface on the wool pad. Yeah, you're right.
Next question is from Phil. He said, would all the information we provided today in terms of application be generally the same on a single stage paint? He's referencing very specifically an 1987 Jaguar XJ6 or similar, but single stage paint.
They would be the same except for a 1987 Jaguar.
It's the one exception. How did he know?
It's ironic, but yes, the same procedure is going to apply. So with a test spot and allowing the paint to tell you what it needs to dial in the correct process.
Yep, excellent. So a question about Uno Pure. Is it suitable to be used as a polish on a ceramic coating as in a maintenance polish to remove without removing the ceramic coating, fix minor defects on the surface of a ceramic product?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. However, with some recommendations on technique and procedure. So that product, Uno Pure, does have a mild abrasive, a very super ultra fine abrasive, and it does remove defects. So if you applied this on top of a paint coating, it will also do that. So the recommended procedure then on top of a paint coating is definitely, please do use the new white foam finishing pad, because any other pad might make that Uno Pure more aggressive in nature and remove more of the coating than you want. And then the technique adjustment is simply to be less aggressive. So You're going to short cycle it. You're going to do less passes. You're going to do perhaps less tool speed, but you're going to pick a technique that is considered less aggressive. And then you'll be fine. You'll actually refine the surface of the paint coating without removing too much paint coating.
Perfect. Anthony from Indonesia. So we work on many cars here with sticky paint problems, especially the darker colors. The problem is our compounding steps. Sometimes the compound material is hard to remove or wipe from the surface. Is this something that is improved with the new product?
Absolutely. And the target product for you, Anthony, is going to be the Uno Pure. And I would even use this as your heavy cutting product. So if you take the Uno Pure product on your sticky paint scenario, which I've actually been on, in your country and experienced this, take it with the yellow wool pad, remove your defects, have a much better wipe off, a much smoother application than using a traditional compound approach. And then do a second step with the same Uno Pure, but switch to the white foam. That two-step procedure on sticky paint will nail it, and you won't have all those issues that you have with a traditional compound.
Perfect. I'll actually take this one. It's another one from Tim. He wanted to know if the packaging for the pads is reusable or resealable. And Tim, it is not, because it's purely a foil material. There's no plastic in it. But I largely don't recommend the sealing of pads into a closed container anyways after use. It's very difficult to get all the moisture off, and it's a documented thing that if you seal even a trace amount of moisture in with a pad, many pad materials get degraded over time due to that humidity exposure. So don't put your pads into sealed plastic bags when there's potential for moisture. But unfortunately, no, these aren't reusable. They are an aluminum foil type product, so single use on the packaging for now. So Ben, let's see, not a question, but I wanted to use the new blue, I have used the new blue one this week, and it's incredible. I used it on a Mark I to correct a Miata. Well, thank you, Ben. Glad you like it. Let's see. We have a question: is the language on the labels will be in Chinese as well? And that I do not have an answer to, but we will address that with the marketing team. I don't know how many languages we're going to have featured, but stay tuned. And if you'd like, send an email go to rupes.com/contact us and send an email, and we'll make sure we get somebody back to you specifically with that answer. I would imagine we probably have some secondary labeling, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Prices. Nope, not talking about that here. Can Pure be used to clean up ceramic coatings? We already covered that. I'm trying to get through as many of your guys' questions here as possible. Let's see. Phil wants to know what causes holograms. That's probably a bigger topic, but Phil, largely a rotary tool is what's going to cause those. Let's see. Any idea when training classes will restart? Stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing that very soon.
As soon as we can.
Soon as we're able to. Will there be any change in the 3 to 4 inch pads? So anybody else want to answer that? I know the answer, but feel free.
Fabrizio?
I didn't get the question.
These 75 millimeter pads.
Yeah, the size for the Mini.
Yeah, what's the question?
Will they be also changed as well? We talked about the 180s and the 125s. So
yeah, no, I said it's the new pads will be available at the moment for 75 3 inches, 125 5 inches, 150 6 inches. They will not be available right now for the nano, so the 1 and 2 inches, 30 and 50 millimeters, but we're working on that. So I hope that before the end of the year, the new foam pads will be available also for the 1 and 2 inches, 30 and 50 millimeters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, question from Bob. He wants to know, after the priming process, do we have any changes or specific recommendations about the reload?
Same.
Yep, same. You're just going to use a few drops, and that's it. Kyle wants to know how long we'll be offering the old pads. In the U.S., they're already kind of being phased out, but it's kind of while supplies last. Fabrizio, you said for Europe, there's some availability in the short term, but maybe not very long, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it officially because it's not official and our board is still defining it. But what I hope personally, because there's no reason to have the old Zephyr and Ceramic and the old pads, I hope that before the end of the year, we will stop the production of the old products. So probably with in the 2021 catalog, we will only have the new versions.
A number of you asked about recording of this session. Yes, if you were on this webinar or registered for this webinar but didn't attend, we will be emailing the on-demand link most likely before the end of the day today. And then there will also be a copy of it uploaded to YouTube typically within about 1 week. So if you joined us late or missed a part of the presentation or whatever, if you are on the webinar or registered for the webinar, you will receive a link to watch it again if you want. Let's see, we have a question. Are there any harmful materials in the new compounds? For example, a company, I'm not going to say who, on the back of their label has many warnings. Are these new compounds water-based and are they considered safe?
Okay, can I take it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, the correct answer is not if there's any dangerous material inside or harmful. The question is the compound harmful? Because we can have a 0.001% of something that is harmful, yep, but the total formulated product will not have any kind of danger for the user. The answer is our product is water-based. It doesn't mean it does not contain any solvent, but it means that the most part of the liquid ingredients are water. Then you normally have some liquids that can be considered a solvent because many of the lubricants are solvents. Many of the other ingredients, they can be considered solvents, but normally what we use is a small amount of them and with a very low load of danger. They are not harmful. And if they are, we use the least quantity possible. Anyway, I have here the label and the bottle. You can see that there's no sign of danger. It means you can touch it. It will not be harmful. It will not have any problem if you smell them. Of course, don't drink it, but it's absolutely safe for every kind of use.
Perfect. Abdulaziz, he wants to know, can he use the ultrafine Uno polish with the white pad directly after a compound with the blue compound and pad? And I would say in some cases, maybe want to touch on the jump from blue to white, skipping yellow in some cases?
Yeah, it's gonna be paint dependent, whether the paint allows you to do that jump. It really depends on the paint and also the severity of the defects, but it is possible. The answer is yes, it's possible, but more likely you might need to go from the blue to the yellow. Yeah.
Perfect. Another question as it pertains to Uno and coatings. Would you finish with Uno Pure if you're planning on coating the vehicle just after the correction? I would say that's largely dependent on the factory recommendation of the coating product you're planning to install. Some of them do require, a panel wipe or something. The benefit of Pure, in my opinion, is that panel wipe is not going to take your finish backwards because Uno Pure doesn't have that filling. There's no masking agents or anything. So if you do use a panel prep pre-coating, the result you saw after the step of Uno Pure should be very similar, if not identical, to what you see after the panel wipe step.
Maybe a little bit of a different take on that. If your goal for any reason is to mechanically, so without the use of a liquid, a gloss intensifier, something like this, to mechanically create the highest gloss possible, to smooth the surface to the highest degree we can with a liquid polishing compound. For a show car, or you are putting coating on an exotic car, and your car, that paint needs to be 11 tenths. 10 tenths isn't good enough. If it needs to be 11 tenths, then Uno Pure with the new DA white ultrafine foam polishing pad is the absolute best product combination I have ever used on any machine ever. And that would become my recommendation as a finishing step.
Yeah, well said.
Actually, a question specific for you, Mr. Rose. Can these webinars be used as continuing education credit for the IDA? And
I'll
I'll
go ahead and take this one.
They would if they were presented through the IDA webinar platform, but since they're not, they're currently not qualifying for extended ed through the IDA directly. But the IDA has announced, I believe, on their website that the qualifying events for continuing ed have been broadened. And I believe now if you watch any webinar of any topic in our industry, you read a book, you listen to an audio book, you go to a class, all of those qualify for IDA continuing ed. So yeah, the answer is yes, but it's not directly through the IDA webinar program. It just qualifies as any webinar qualifies.
Perfect. I'm going to add one more, and I think we're going to wrap because we are at an hour and a half. We had a lot of questions about formulation, and I'll just address all those. We're not going to comment specifically. A lot of the technology that is in these is ours, and we're not going to share it. We don't want to share that stuff prematurely. So in terms of the type of abrasive, percentage of abrasive, what's in it, sorry, we're not giving away the secret to our magic formulas.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to quick, before you close, I want to give a quick shout out to somebody who's not on camera, but had a significant impact on these products. So a shout out to Marco D'Inca and the whole development team, our whole technical team. He has worked tirelessly and many, many, many hours, and he's raised our bar. So he continually pushes all of us to reach for better excellence, better performance. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Marco.
Cheers. Yeah, definitely. Bravo, Marco. Last technical question, and we'll end it on this note. We have a customer who is getting excellent results using his Melee with coarse and yellow, and it's satisfying his need. Would he expect a dramatic increase in performance with the new products on his Melee? It sounds like he very much loves his Melee products and wants to know if he makes the change, is he going to be really impressed, or is this more of an upgrade for the random orbital system?
Well, I can answer that one. They are slightly different formulas, but they are similar in a lot of respects. I would say that if you currently use the Melee coarse and the Melee fine with your Melee tool, and in your market, I don't know where this person is, but in your market, if you still have those products available during this transition period, I would say rock on and continue to use those. Will you expect dramatic difference? You will expect the difference. There will be, like we've said through this whole presentation, we really reached for extended, improved performance, and you will get that with the DA coarse and the DA fine. But in that particular situation, between the comparison of Melee and the new DA products, the leap in performance is not huge. It's more of a smaller gap. So hopefully.
Good answer. And on that note, gentlemen, I think we are done. Thank you to you three. I would like to say thank you. You guys did a great job in this presentation. Thank you to everybody who attended, everybody who watched on Facebook, all our friends around the world. This is the largest audience we've ever experienced for any of our webinars. I'd also like to remind everybody that there are, I believe, 5 additional sessions Fabrizio beyond this one that will be presented in the coming weeks in different languages.
Yes, I think tomorrow we will have French, then on Friday Italian, on Monday Greek, Spanish. No, Greek is not among the languages. Then we have on Tuesday German, and on Wednesday Russian.
Fantastic.
And also in the Asian market, Southeast Asia, there will be a series of this presentation in local languages for Asian markets that will begin the first week of July.
Awesome stuff. Well, any other parting comments, gentlemen, before we log off?
Thank you.
Yeah, very general thank you to the best team in the world and to all of our customers. So thank you very much.
All right, guys. Everybody, thank you for attending, and have yourself a great day.